The homemade pumpkin pie's weight grounds me as I pause at the entrance of my parents' refined suburban house. Through the decorative glass panels beside the front door, I catch glimpses of shifting colors and movement. 24 family members socializing under the light of my mother's treasured crystal chandelier. For a brief moment, I contemplate leaving. Returning to my apartment to spend Thanksgiving with a microwave meal and mindless TV. Then my father sees me through the glass. "There she is," his voice echoes as he pulls open the door. "Our number cruncher has arrived." I manufacture a smile and enter. The scent of sage and roasted turkey surrounds me. My simple dress, a conservative knee-length in deep teal, suddenly seems insufficient among the festive sparkle of my mother's home. "Oh, you brought dessert?" Mom says, taking the pie with a cursory kiss on my cheek. Her gaze darts beyond me toward the driveway. "Is that all you brought?" "Just me and the pie," I reply, attempting to keep my tone light. "Made from scratch." Dad squeezes my shoulder. "Skyla works with numbers. Very stable job. Always punctual." The praise feels like a veiled insult. Always punctual. Always dependable. Always dull. I've heard versions of this throughout my life. Mom's phone beeps and her expression lights up. "That's your sister." "She's running a little late." 30 minutes and counting, I mumble. But nobody catches my remark as I'm guided toward the living room, where relatives gather with beverages and appetizers. Uncle Warren lifts his glass. The accountant arrives. "How's life balancing those books, Skylar?" "I'm an internal auditor, actually," I clarify, taking a champagne flute from a passing tray. "And businesses?" A sudden silence descends over the room like a thick blanket. Conversations stop mid-word. Heads pivot toward the entrance. My sister has arrived. Marissa sweeps in 30 minutes late, looking like she emerged from a fashion magazine. Her camel Max Mara coat, which I recognize from last month's Vogue, hangs flawlessly over her shoulders. The Prada handbag suspended from her wrist likely costs more than my monthly rent. "Sorry I'm late," she declares, sounding anything but apologetic. The traffic was absolutely terrible. Mom hurries forward, radiating the kind of pride she never displays when introducing me. "You look stunning, sweetheart." She touches the sleeve of Marissa's coat. "Is this new?" Marissa beams. "Just picked it up last weekend," the color called to me. "You work so hard," Mom gushes. "You deserve to treat yourself." I swallow hard and empty my champagne glass in one swallow. The irony stings worse than the bubbles. Marissa hasn't maintained a steady job in 3 years, jumping between consulting gigs that somehow never endure but always come with impressive-sounding titles. Dinner is announced before I can escape for a refill. I end up seated between Cousin Lauren and Uncle Warren's new girlfriend, whose name I've already misplaced. Across from me, Marissa commands attention, entertaining the table with tales of her latest business venture involving social media and luxury brands. "Skylar," Lauren turns to me during a pause, her voice hushed. "I've been meaning to ask you something about my student loans. The interest is killing me, and I wondered if you might have some advice about restructuring." I lean in, genuinely happy to be helpful. "Actually, there's a program I just read about that could help if your income is below a certain threshold." Not everyone wants to hear about math at dinner. "Dear," Mom interrupts from 3 seats away, her hearing suddenly selective and acute. She smiles at Lauren. "Why don't you ask Marissa? She's great with money." The table falls quiet. I study my plate, fork hovering over untouched turkey. Marissa's laugh chimes like ice in a crystal glass. "Oh, Skylar's always crunching numbers," she says, swirling her wine. "And always short on cash, it seems." My cheeks flush. "I manage my money just fine. Do you?" Marissa raises one perfect eyebrow. "Then why are you always asking for loans?" The dining room temperature drops 10 degrees. 23 pairs of eyes swing between us like spectators at a tennis match. "I've never asked you for money," I say, my voice controlled despite the pounding in my ears. "Not once." "Not once." "Please." Marissa rolls her eyes dramatically. "You should stop begging for money. It's embarrassing." The words hit me like a physical assault. My ears buzz with the audacity of her fabrication. A complete reversal of our reality. No one speaks. No one defends me. Not even our parents, who know precisely which direction the money flows. Speaking of embarrassing, Dad interjects with forced cheerfulness. Did anyone catch the Seahawks game last Sunday? That fourth quarter was something else. Just like that, conversation stumbles forward, abandoning my humiliation behind like roadkill no one wants to acknowledge. I sit paralyzed, transported back to when I was 10 years old, draining my piggy bank to help buy Marissa a dance costume. Your sister needs it more than you do, Mom had said, patting my head. She has the recital coming up. You're the practical one, Skyla. The practical one, the responsible one, the one expected to sacrifice. I excuse myself when dessert is served, slipping away to the powder room. My hands shake as I lock the door behind me, but my mind has never been sharper. I retrieve my phone and open my banking app, examining the 5 recurring payments to various accounts with Marissa's name attached. 5 years. $50,800, an average of $880 every month. Car insurance. Credit card minimums. Personal loan payments. The evidence of my sister's financial parasitism glows on my screen in neat, organized rows, exactly as an auditor would maintain them. Without hesitation, I select each payment and terminate them all, one by one. Confirmation messages appear. Recurring payment canceled. 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 I splash cold water on my face, blot it dry with one of Mom's decorative guest towels, and return to the dining room. My pumpkin pie sits in the center of the table, slices removed from its perfect crust. There you are, Mom says. We started without you. That's fine. I slide back into my seat, a strange peace washing over me. I'm not really hungry for dessert anyway. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Confirmation notices from my bank. The cancellations are complete. More coffee, Skylar? Dad offers, pot in hand. I smile and extend my cup. Yes, I think I'll have a second helping. For the first time in 5 years, I will not be paying for my sister's life tonight. For the first time in forever, I am choosing myself. And it feels like the first breath after nearly drowning. Numbers don't lie, people do. The next day, morning light streams through the blinds of my modest one-bedroom apartment as I open my laptop at the small desk tucked between the kitchen and living room. The coffee maker bubbles in the background, its familiar rhythm steadying my hands as I create a new spreadsheet. Payment history, Marissa Cole? I type in the header, my fingers moving with the precision that makes me valuable at work. Each keystroke feels like reclaiming a piece of myself. I pull up my banking records, systematically copying every payment made to my sister over the past 5 years. The spreadsheet expands row by row, an archaeological dig through my financial sacrifices. 3 separate credit card payments each month. The personal loan that was supposed to be just until her commission comes through. Car insurance for the luxury SUV she absolutely needed for client meetings that never materialized. The total appears at the bottom of the column. 52,800, the number sits there, accusing me not of generosity, but of foolishness. Nearly $900 every month, more than my own car payment, funneled silently to maintain Marissa's carefully constructed facade. I save the document to 3 separate cloud locations. Evidence secured. I allow myself another sip of coffee. My phone vibrates again. The screen illuminates with Marissa's name for the 16th time since dawn. I silence it without reading the message, but the notifications keep appearing. Something's wrong with the payments. Call me right now. Did you switch banks? Payment failed. What did you do? The credit card company just called. Fix this. Autopay declined. Call me back. Insufficient funds. What's going on? Her messages spiral from confusion to panic to full-blown anger, punctuation multiplying with her desperation. 15 calls, over 30 messages, all within 24 hours. I turn my phone face down and keep working through the afternoon. Then the inevitable happens. My mother's name flashes on the screen. I answer on the 3rd ring. Skylar, what's happening? Marissa says you're refusing to help her with something. Her tone carries that old trace of disappointment, the kind that used to make me feel 10 years old again, clutching my birthday money instead of sharing it. I've been paying her bills for 5 years. Mom. My voice sounds steadier than it ever has when speaking to her. She told everyone at Thanksgiving yesterday that I begged her for money, so I stopped. A sharp inhale. That's not what she meant. You know how Marissa gets when she's nervous? She exaggerates. It wasn't an exaggeration. It was a lie, and everyone believed her. You're overreacting. Family helps family. I did help. For 5 years. That's $50,800 of my money. A pause. Then the sound of the phone shifting hands. Skylar, it's Dad. His voice sounds suddenly older. What's all this about money? Your sister says you cut her off with no warning. Did she tell you why she's been getting money from me every month? She's had some cash flow problems with her business. You know that's not true, Dad. She doesn't have a business. She hasn't worked steadily in 3 years. Silence stretches long. You've changed, he finally says. You used to be kind. The words hit deeper than I expect, but clarity steadies me. I haven't changed, I reply. I just stopped letting people use my kindness as their safety net. The silence that follows is heavy, like they've never viewed our family dynamic from that angle before. The call ends awkwardly, with promises to talk later, which really means we hope you come to your senses. I've barely put the phone down when it rings again. Lauren. Hey. Just checking in. You left Thanksgiving so suddenly. Her voice trails off, probing. It was a rough evening, I say carefully. Marissa's been messaging everyone about money issues. Something about you backing out of a loan? A dry laugh escapes before I can stop it. I didn't back out of a loan. I just stopped paying her bills after 5 years. Wait, you've been paying her bills? But she has that massive house in Bellevue. The shock in Lauren's voice confirms what I already suspected. No one knew. For years. Marissa had upheld her polished image of success while quietly draining my accounts dry. How much are we talking about? Lauren asks. $52,800. Holy shit, Skylar. That's... She trails off. No wonder you always turn down family trips. A lump rises in my throat. All those excuses about work commitments, saving for a house, needing to stay available for emergencies, when the truth was far simpler and far crueler. I couldn't afford both Marissa's lifestyle and my own existence in the same frame. After Lauren hangs up, promising the kind of discretion I know she won't keep, my phone buzzes with a text from cousin Michael. About time someone stood up to the golden child. The truth is spreading through the family now, reshaping 5 years of memories. Gatherings where Marissa showed up in designer clothes while I rotated the same black dress with new accessories. Where she brought imported wines while I baked from scratch because it was cheaper. Where she bragged about luxury resorts while I mentioned quiet staycations. I closed the spreadsheet and shut my laptop. The documentation is done. The payments are canceled. The truth is out in the open. For the first time in 5 years, all $880 of my monthly Marissa payment will stay in my own account. The thought doesn't bring the satisfaction I expected, just a hollow kind of relief, like removing a splinter that's been there so long you learn to move around the pain. I glance at my phone. The notification count has climbed to 43. Tomorrow will bring more calls, more guilt, more pressure. But tonight the math is simple. And numbers, unlike sisters, don't lie. At 6:47 a.m., my phone lights up again. Half asleep under my comforter, I glance at the screen and immediately wish I hadn't. Please keep Skyla in your prayers during this difficult time, Marissa's message reads. Mental health struggles can manifest in many ways, including financial jealousy and irrational behavior. I stare at the ceiling, counting the tiny popcorn ridges to keep from throwing my phone. Within seconds, replies flood in. Oh no, what happened? Sending love, Skylar. We're here for you. Should we send a care package? No one asks why she posted that. No one questions its truth. My sister's word is gospel, and suddenly I'm the unstable one having a breakdown. My mother calls within minutes. Skylar Marie Thompson. Her tone carries that familiar weight of deep disappointment. You need to fix this before Thanksgiving is completely ruined. Fix what exactly? I ask, slipping into my slippers and heading to the kitchen. Don't play dumb. Marissa is heartbroken. Your father can hardly look at his phone when she texts about you. She pauses. We raised you better than this, the coffee maker gurgles as I measure the grounds with practiced precision. ChatGPT said, Did you ask Marissa what exactly I've done? She showed me the bank alerts. All those payments suddenly stopped. My mother's voice lowers, laced with accusation. She has bills, Skylar. Responsibilities. Ruth. So do I. The words come out firmer than I meant. This isn't like you, she presses. The daughter I raised would never turn her back on her sister. I watch the coffee drip steadily into the pot, dark and clarifying. The daughter you raised has been paying Marissa's bills for 5 years, I say quietly. While she's been telling everyone I'm the one begging her for money. Silence stretches between us, thin and sharp as wire. I'm going to be late for work, I cut in, an act of quiet rebellion. Give Dad my love. I end the call before she can answer, then open Facebook. Marissa's latest post fills the screen, a softly filtered photo of her gazing out a window, captioned, "Heartbroken when family struggles with jealousy. Praying for healing in these difficult times." 27 sympathetic comments already. I close the app without replying and finish getting ready for work. At the office, something surprising happens. I'm sharper than I've been in months. Documents glide through review. Spreadsheets I normally second-guess look flawless on the first try. You seem more focused lately, my manager notes during our afternoon check-in. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. What I'm doing is keeping an extra $880 a month and finally sleeping through the night. That evening, I order a new oak desk I've wanted for months, guilt-free this time. As I enter my card details, there's no anxiety. No mental math about Marissa's car insurance or her minimum payments. I realize I haven't been living below my means out of prudence, but because I was bankrolling my sister's extravagance. The truth lands heavy in my gut. The real test of my resolve comes 3 days later. Marissa shows up uninvited in the lobby of my office building. Through the glass doors, I see her. Designer shades, flawless makeup, hair artfully tousled, wearing an outfit that screams both wealth and distress. How could you just abandon me like this? She demands. She confronts me the instant I step closer, voice raised, tears streaming freely, yet somehow leaving her mascara untouched. After everything I've done for you? Heads turn across the lobby. My coworkers slow their steps, pretending not to listen while catching every word. I keep my tone calm and steady. This isn't the place to discuss your finances, Marissa. Finances? She scoffs, laughter sharp and brittle. You're the one who's always needed my help. And now, when I need you for once, just temporarily, you cut me off entirely? A security guard glances over, uneasy with the rising tension. Call me when you're ready to talk about repayment plans, I say softly. Repayment? The word lands like a live grenade. Her tears stop on command. The shift would almost be admirable if I hadn't witnessed it countless times. The instant transformation from fragile victim to calculating manipulator the moment her tactics fail. This isn't over, she hisses, voice now firm. Then she pivots sharply, stiletto heels striking the marble floor as she storms through the revolving doors. I watch her go, strangely composed after what should have been an emotional blow. Saturday brings an unexpected comfort. Lauren shows up at my apartment carrying lunch from my favorite deli and wearing a look of quiet concern. You okay? She asks, unpacking sandwiches and soup onto my small dining table. Everyone's talking about what happened. What version are they sharing? I ask, setting out plates. Lauren sighs. The real one's finally spreading. Michael called me after speaking with your dad, she adds carefully. Is it true Marissa owes you over $50,000? $52,800, I confirm. But her total debt is closer to $96,000. Lauren freezes, sandwich halfway to her mouth. 96? How? They've been living in that gorgeous Bellevue house, mortgaged to the edge, I explain. Add 3 maxed-out credit cards, 2 personal loans, and a car lease that's 3 months behind. I've been quietly paying the minimums for years. She was bleeding you dry, Lauren says, anger rising, and still parading around like she had it all together. My phone buzzes. A new group chat appears, Team Skyla, created by our younger cousins, excluding Marissa and my parents. I'm still processing that when my phone rings again. Unknown number. I almost let it go to voicemail until Lauren's eyes widen. That's Evan's number, she says. I answer and put it on speaker. We need to talk, comes Evan's strained voice. I'm listening, I say. I didn't know, he starts. About any of it. The loans, the payments, everything. Thank you for helping her all this time. I thought we were doing fine, but she's been spending beyond what we could handle, just to keep up appearances. I glance at Lauren, both of us stunned. We're not as secure as everyone thinks, Evan admits quietly. Not even close. ChatGPT said, a strange lightness drifts through me. For years, I thought I was the only one who truly saw Marissa. Now others are finally starting to see behind the curtain. I hope you can help her find healthier ways to cope, I say at last. Lauren squeezes my hand across the table as the call ends. For the first time in years, I'm not alone in understanding Marissa. And for the first time in my life, I'm not expected to fix everything. That night, the knock at my apartment door comes at 11:42 p.m., 3 heavy blows that shake the frame. I know who it is before I even look through the peephole. Marissa stands in the harsh hallway light, arms wrapped around herself, hair hanging limp, face bare. She's wearing faded jeans and a simple cotton t-shirt, clothes I've never seen her in before. I open the door but keep my body in the way. It's almost midnight. Please, she whispers, her voice cracking. I'm falling apart, Sky. Evan knows everything. For a moment, I see the little girl who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, seeking comfort from her practical sister who was never afraid of the noise. But then I remember the Thanksgiving table, her voice dripping with false concern. You should stop begging for money. It's embarrassing. Still, I step aside. Come in. She rushes past me, pacing the living room like a caged animal. The credit card companies won't stop calling. I've blocked 8 numbers, but they just keep finding new ones. And the BMW, her voice catches. They're repossessing it next week. I offer her water in a plain glass. She looks at it briefly, clearly hoping for wine. Mom and Dad are heartbroken, she continues, taking the glass but not drinking. You're tearing the family apart with this. Vendetta. I sit back on the couch, watching her performance with new clarity. If I lose everything, it's because of you, she says, voice hardening. Is that what you want? To see me fail? I wait until her dramatics fade into silence, until the pause meant to draw sympathy stretches too long. I've helped you for 5 years, Marissa, she nods eagerly, and I'm so grateful. That's why I don't understand why you'd stop now, when I need you most. I let the quiet between us grow deliberate. That's $52,800, I say evenly. I have records of every payment. Her expression flips from pleading to defensive in an instant. It wasn't that much. You're exaggerating to make me look bad. Without a word, I open my laptop on the coffee table. The screen glows, illuminating a spreadsheet, each row. A payment, each column marks a category. Dates, amounts, account numbers, notes. Every call, every excuse, every promise that next month she'd finally pay me back. 5 years of financial bleeding, documented in the language I understand best. Numbers that never lie. This is... She falters, eyes narrowing. You're just doing this to make yourself look good. You always need to be the perfect one. When I stay silent, she shifts tone. You know I have expenses. You don't. The country club fees alone. She cuts herself off, realizing how that sounds. You make more than I do, she tries again, voice rising. You don't understand what it's like to struggle. I make $185,000 a year, I say quietly. Her eyes widen. She'd clearly assumed much less. I live in this 1-bedroom apartment so I could afford to pay your bills. The silence that follows feels heavier than any argument. For a moment, there's honesty, raw and uncomfortable. Her mouth opens, searching for a new angle. But we're sisters, she whispers at last. Family helps family. Family, I repeat, standing and opening the door. You had 5 years, Marissa. I paid $52,000 of your debt. That's enough. She grabs her purse, shoulders tight with outrage. At the doorway, she turns, eyes sharp. You're heartless, she hisses. You'll regret this. No, I say evenly. You should regret mistaking compassion for obligation. The door closes with a soft click. 2 hours later, my mother calls. Her voice is tense, controlled. Marissa says you refuse to help. She's struggling, Skylar. Did she tell you how much I've already helped her? I ask. She mentioned some small loans. $52,000 over 5 years isn't small, Mom. The sharp inhale on the other end says it all. Then Dad's voice replaces hers. 52,000? That can't be right. I can email you the records, I reply, glancing at the draft I'd prepared days ago. Why keep giving her money if she wasn't being honest? He asks. Because she's family, I finish quietly. And you're the ones who taught me that family helps family, no matter what. The silence that follows feels like both vindication and loss. Later that night, the texts begin, Uncle Warren. Your sister's devastated. Aunt Patricia. Where's your compassion? The family forgives, always, but others come too. Cousin Michael. About damn time someone stood up to her. Call if you need to talk. Lauren finally knows the truth. We're all behind you. Mom and Dad too. My phone buzzes with a notification from the extended family group chat. I brace myself for another flood of guilt and pressure, but instead I see an unexpected message from Evan. Thank you all for your concern. Marissa and I are dealing with some financial difficulties that have recently come to light. We ask for your understanding during this time. And Skylar, thank you for your past support. It wasn't properly acknowledged. The old family order, Marissa shining at the center while I quietly orbited around her, has begun to crack. Thanksgiving dinner has become the line dividing our family story, before the truth and after. My father calls soon after, his voice subdued. I've been looking over those statements you sent. All these years you've been... He trails off, unable to finish the thought, that his golden daughter was deceiving him, while his steady one was sacrificing in silence. We should talk, he says at last. All of us. Maybe Sunday dinner? Not yet, I reply, surprising myself with the boundary. Of course, he says quickly, too quickly. Whatever you need. The words sound foreign coming from him, or anyone in my family. Whatever I need has never been the priority before. I curl up on the couch, wrapped in the quilt my grandmother made, the one Marissa always called too old-fashioned for her taste. My apartment feels different tonight. Not bigger or fancier, just more mine. For the first time in 5 years, the weight of secrecy and obligation has lifted. The money that once fueled Marissa's perfect image will now support my genuine life. On the coffee table, my laptop glows with the spreadsheet, 5 years of payments, each one a brick in the wall between who I was and who I'm becoming. I close it, and the room falls into darkness, except for the faint city light slipping through my blinds. Tomorrow will bring more calls, more sides, more pressure to step back into my old role. But tonight, in the quiet aftermath of truth, I find something unfamiliar. Peace. A week later, Evan's new message glows on my phone like a warning. Family meeting. Our house. Tomorrow at 2. Just parents, you and a few others. This needs to end. I stare at the words for a long moment, my stomach tightening. In the weeks since that confrontation with Marissa, our family has splintered into opposing camps. Mother still calls daily with tearful pleas. Father has gone uncharacteristically quiet. Cousins send messages, some of support, others of judgment, depending on whose version of the story they believe. What catches me off guard is Evan's sudden involvement after 6 years of marriage to my sister. He's always been pleasantly uninvolved in family drama. When I arrive at their house, noticeably smaller than what Mother had described, Evan opens the door before I can knock. His usual easygoing demeanor is replaced by something harder, more resolute. Thank you for coming, he says quietly. This won't be easy. The living room feels like a courtroom waiting for trial. Mother and Father sit stiffly on matching armchairs. Uncle Warren occupies one end of the sofa beside Aunt Patricia and Grandmother, her presence alone marking how serious this is. Marissa is nowhere in sight. Where do I begin? Evan mutters. She'll join us shortly, he adds, gesturing toward an empty chair positioned unmistakably as the focal point. Please, sit. I take the far corner of the sofa, keeping distance from the emotional blast zone. The air is charged with unspoken judgment. Mother offers a strained smile. This isn't necessary. Family disagreements should stay private. Not this one, Evan replies firmly, setting a thick manila folder on the coffee table. Not anymore. A door closes somewhere down the hall. Marissa enters, barefaced, dressed in plain jeans and a beige sweater I've never seen before. No designer labels, no jewelry. Her eyes are rimmed red but dry. "Sit down, Marissa," Evan says without looking at her. She perches on the edge of the chair, hands tightly clasped in her lap. Evan stands tall, shoulders squared. "I've asked you all here because it's time everyone understood what's really been happening." He opens the folder. Over the past few years, Marissa has accumulated personal debt totaling $96,500. Mother gasps. Father's head jerks up. "That includes the $50,800 Skylar has been paying quietly for 5 years," Evan continues. "The money Marissa told me came from a trust fund set up by grandmother." Grandmother's sharp intake of breath cuts through the silence. "I never established any trust fund." "I know that now." Evan lays out credit card statements across the table. Nordstrom, Saks, Neiman Marcus. Designer clothes, jewelry, handbags, all to maintain the illusion of success. Meanwhile, we were barely staying afloat. Father leans forward, disbelief tightening his features. "This doesn't sound like the daughter we raised." "I needed those things," Marissa whispers. "Everyone expected me to look successful." Mother reaches toward her, voice trembling. "Marissa, is this true?" The question hangs heavy in the air. For the first time in 30 years, I hear Mother doubt Marissa's version of reality. Marissa's composure shatters. Tears streak down her face. "I just wanted everyone to be proud of me, by lying. By stealing from your sister." Aunt Patricia's voice slices through the air. "I was going to pay her back," Marissa murmurs, her voice small. "With what money?" Evan asks sharply. "You haven't held a steady job in 3 years." The silence that follows settles like a heavy fog. I watch as my family finally absorbs the truth they've been avoiding for years. Evan straightens his posture. "Things change starting today. We're selling the Range Rover. The Maldives trip is canceled. Marissa starts a full-time job at Belinda's boutique on Monday, and we begin financial counseling Thursday." Mother's face drains of color. That's so extreme." "It's necessary," Evan replies firmly. "And long overdue." Father turns toward me, his eyes clouded with something I've rarely seen. Genuine regret. "We should have noticed sooner," he whispers. "I'm sorry, Skylar." The words I've waited decades to hear land softly, without the satisfaction I once imagined. I nod once, accepting but not absolving. For the first time I can remember, I sit within a family crisis without being expected to fix it. I am neither savior nor scapegoat, simply present. A strange lightness rises in my chest. The next 6 months unfold in careful, deliberate steps. Family gossip shifts as the truth surfaces. Marissa works retail after years of comfort, coming home with sore feet and humbled eyes. Evan manages their budget with spreadsheets that mirror my own meticulous records. When Mother calls now, her voice carries a new caution, as though she's still learning how to exist in this new reality. Father asks about my investments, listening with genuine interest. Then one Thursday morning in May, my phone pings. A $600 deposit. A message follows. "It'll take years, but I'll pay you back." I stare at the screen, remembering that Thanksgiving table where she accused me of begging, and the powder room where I finally found my boundaries. The spreadsheet documenting 5 years of quiet sacrifice flashes in my mind. My fingers hover above the keyboard. A dozen replies appear and vanish. In the end, I type only 2 words. Received. Thank you, not forgiveness, at least not yet. But maybe a door left slightly ajar, and a wall I have every right to keep standing. The scent of pumpkin candles steadies me as I stand at the threshold of Evan and Marissa's smaller Tudor-style home. Through the leaded glass panels, I glimpse modest Thanksgiving decorations, a far cry from last year's lavish display at our parents' house. For a moment, I consider turning back, spending the holiday alone with a good book. But then I see my father through the glass. Our eyes meet. 1 year has changed more than just my address. My apartment now features a plush burgundy sectional, replacing the worn-out hand-me-down I endured for years. In my home office, a sleek desk gleams where a wobbly card table once stood, the place I'd managed both my own and Maurice's finances for half a decade. The $880 that used to vanish each month into my sister's endless demands now goes into an investment account that's grown 12%. Dad opens the door before I can even knock. "There she is," he says, his voice softer than I remember, touched by something new. respect. Happy Thanksgiving. I step inside, inhaling the familiar aroma of roasting turkey. My simple knee-length forest green dress feels perfectly fitting this time. Oh, you're right on time, Mom says, kissing my cheek, without the usual distant formality. Marissa is setting the dining table, white plates, cloth napkins, only 8 place settings this year instead of 24. No glittering chandelier, just a warm pendant light casting a gentle glow over faces that finally feel like family, not audience. She emerges from the kitchen in jeans and a cream sweater. No designer labels, no statement jewelry, just her. Hair tied back neatly, hands steady as she carries a platter of turkey. Everything looks wonderful, I say, and mean it. Marissa smiles, and in that smile, I see something unfamiliar. Humility. Thanks for coming, she says. When everyone's seated, Evan raises his glass for a toast. To family, he starts, but then nods toward Marissa, inviting her to continue. She lifts her water glass. To the family who tells the truth, even when it hurts. My throat tightens. I raise my glass in return, maybe not ready for full forgiveness, but open to this honest new beginning. Dinner unfolds without pretense. Uncle Warren speaks candidly about his heart surgery. Lauren talks about her promotion without apologizing for her success. Mom and Dad admit their worries about retirement without pretending everything's perfect. No performances, no quiet competition. Just real people sharing real lives. Later, back in my apartment, I open my laptop out of habit. But I don't check the spreadsheet anymore. 12 payments from Marissa, everyone on time. I scroll through my phone, deleting her old pleading messages. They're no longer needed. They were armor once, proof against manipulation. Now the truth has settled, quiet and final, like dust after a storm. I open my journal and write the number, $52's $800. If she were anyone else, I'd have stopped long ago. But she was my sister, or at least I thought she was. The deposits aren't just financial payback. They're acknowledgement. Proof that my boundaries mattered, that my sacrifices were seen. My worth was never tied to family approval. It took 30 years to learn that. Boundaries aren't cruelty, they're self-respect. I close the journal, feeling neither victory nor bitterness, just clarity. Sometimes kindness means knowing when to stop. You can't rescue someone determined to drown, especially when they're the one pulling you under, and the question lingers in the quiet of my apartment. If you were in my place, what would you have done? Cut them off? Given them one more chance because they're family? Taken legal action to reclaim what was lost? Where do you draw the line between helping and being used? Subscribe.